بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Today on the 10th of Shawwal in the year 1443 corresponding to the 11th of May 2022, we are in the book Wajeez, the concise presentation of the fiqh, in the chapter of fixed prescribed punishments, starting the subchapter, the punishment for theft. Wealth is one of the necessities of life that Islam seeks to safeguard and preserve. Islam has ordered that wealth is earned through legal means, and the basic ruling concerning all matters is that of permissibility. Islam has also prohibited that wealth be earned through forbidden means while clarifying what the forbidden means are. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَدْ فَصَّلَ لَكُمْ مَا حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ. He has explained to you in detail what is forbidden to you. One of the forbidden means to gaining wealth is theft. Theft is defined as the taking of wealth that belongs to another in a manner involving stealth and secrecy.
Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawala. Just this is to indicate that this is the first class for us live from the masjid. The masjid that we have dreamt about a year ago, alhamdulillah, came now as a reality. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with this. We thank Allah Azza wa Jalla that He had made it available for us to have a community center. And this comes to my mind just before I start the class, that the Prophet ﷺ, when he migrated from Mecca to Medina, the first thing that he had established is the masjid. As soon as he came to a place called Quba, not far away from the Medina, he stayed there for 14 nights before he traveled to the Medina. So he went from Mecca to Quba. Quba is about 5 miles away from 10 miles, 7 miles away from Medina. So before he went to the Masjid of the Prophet where he was residing, he stayed in Quba for 14 days. And the first thing he had done, he made a masjid there. And that was the Masjid of Quba. So لمسجد أسس على التقوى من أول يوم أحق أن تقوم فيه. This ayah, the masjid which is being built upon taqwa. That is, أحق أن تقوم فيه. It is for you, Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, to establish the prayer in it, is actually Masjid Quba. And the Prophet ﷺ's masjid is, because it's the best of the masjid, is included as well. So the first masjid was Masjid Quba. Then after 14 days, Prophet of Allah, he went to Medina. The first thing he went down in Medina as well to build a masjid. The masjid is actually the nuwah, which we call it the basis, foundation for every Muslim society. Kuffar, what is their foundation? What is the thing that they would combine them all the time? The pub, exactly. So whenever you go to a place, or even if you rent a place, so they will tell you what is around you. The closest pub from you, that's their mosque, basically. When I say masjid, this is a mosque, because the word mosque is different from the word masjid. So this is a mosque for them. But for us, the masjid is where we gather to obey Allah. Where these people, they gather to disobey Allah. That's the difference, you see. And their love to each other is based upon their relation with each other. Whereas as Muslims, we love one another even we don't know you, just because you come to the family of Islam, yeah, mashallah, in the masjid. And that's why the masjid is very important, alhamdulillah. طيب, we are, as we know, going through a book called Wajeez. And Wajeez is a concise. It's like the cream of the crop of the fiqh, which is, I would say, a blessed book that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with. Because if we are left without a Wajeez, we're going to go to something which is more difficult. So this is one of those simple books, or simplified, I should say simplified books for the starters, for the intermediaries, and also for the medium as well, sort of knowledge for people, and also for the ones who are advanced. Now, if I'm going to just tell you, this is the Wajeez in my hand now, the book, Wajeez. So if you look at the thickness of it, well, alhamdulillah, we are left with what? Let me just take this. Okay. So all of that, we studied it from this end up to, and I'm going to go now to the theft. So I'm going to show you where the theft is, so you'll know where we are. We are here. Okay. So what is left is just a few pages, and we finished the fiqh, alhamdulillah, with the blessings of Allah Azza wa Jalla. New English book. I'll show you. So this is concise. You've studied all of that. You're left with this. That's including the indexes and the contents and all of that there. So maybe 2/3 of that we're finished. Alhamdulillah. Right. So he said, we're going to study fifth. Before I started the class, we're going to speak today. So theft. Islam came to organize the life of the Muslims in every aspect. It's not just the masjid is the Islam. No, Islam is inside the masjid, outside the masjid. Whereas in Christianity, Judaism, it's inside the church or inside the synagogue. As Islam for us is a life. It's a life pattern. How do we live our life? So this Islam came to us well to organize not just the worship and also how to deal with one another. From the essential things that Islam came up with is to preserve the money. So squandering the money in haram is haram. And also stealing the due rights of other people is haram. So he had made Islam that the foundation for you to earn the halal money is to earn it with your own sweat, not to go and gain it by fooling this person, stealing that person, robbing that person, all of that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had put certain punishments. Those punishments are actually go along with the crime itself. And we're going to see here how Islam looked at the stealing in a different way from robbing, from pinching, when you pinch from somebody, okay? Or confiscation as well. It's different, there's different terminologies. So let's just define what is theft. Theft here, he had defined it in the linguistic Arabic language. What is it again?
Theft is defined as the taking of wealth that belongs to another in a manner involving stealth and secrecy.
Well, it is close from the Sharia, but the Sharia adds some things which are important to understand for you what is considered to be theft that will entail cutting off the hand or not. So theft is taking a respected wealth. And we're going to see that, inshallah. Respected wealth which belongs to others and taking it from a place which is to be a safe place to that particular property or money. So for example, the money is in the safe in the house. The sheep is in the pens. The camels, horses are where? In the stable. So if you steal horses from the stable, it's actually theft as well. Because horses are not kept in the houses. Let's say the fruit that you gather, if you put it in a certain place where you gather your dates and all of that, that's called as well a place where if you steal from it, it's considered to be theft. And also that is with no doubtful thing. So we said here, it is to take money which is respected and taken from a place which is considered to be a safe place and without a doubt. And we're going to understand what is a doubt in a minute. On a way which is secrecy. Okay, fine. So in this definition, we have 4 pillars. Each pillar we're going to discuss it. First pillar is that there is a thief. Second pillar, that there is someone who's been having stolen from him. Third one, and that is there is money or property has been stolen. Fourth one, there's a way of stealing it. So this definition got 4 things. Without these 4 things, it's not theft. And each one's got conditions. So we got a person who's a thief, and a person who is being stolen from, and the money which is the property is being stolen, and the way it's being stolen. Right. I'm going to give you, inshallah, in a minute, those things that will implement the prescribed punishment, which is cutting off the hand later on. So we have put the 4 pillars, but we're going to go into 4 pillars, inshallah. Just before we go into that, I would like to have some more sort of reading, so to understand what is theft. So it's what you've got there is just basically 1 page. Well, I'm going to give you maybe 5 or 6 pages. on top of that to understand what is there. Further.
Stealing is one of the great sins. Its legal punishment has been stipulated in the Quran, Sunnah, and consensus of the nation.
So it is from the great sins being established here between Quran, Sunnah, and the consensus of the Sahaba. Further.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, وَسَارِقُ وَالسَّارِقَةُ وَالسَّارِقُ وَالسَّارِقَةُ فَقَطَعُوا أَيْدِيَهُمَا جَزَاءً بِمَا كَسَبَا نَكَالًا مِنَ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. Cut off from the wrist joint the right hand of the thief, male or female, as a recompense for that which they committed, a punishment by way of example from Allah, and Allah is all-powerful, all-wise. Abdullah ibn Umar said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam cut the hand off of a thief for stealing a shield worth 3 dirhams. Ibn al-Munzir said, the scholars all agree that the cutting off the hand of the thief is obligated once 2 free, righteous Muslim men bear witness to the theft.
Okay. And but you finished it? Finished that sentence?
Yeah.
Yes, finish that sentence. Right. So he's just giving you one proof from the Quran, one proof from the Sunnah, and he giving you the consensus that if 2 witnesses have testified, then the hands of the thief will be cut off. We have to add to that as well, which is coming now. Go ahead. So
if an adult, non-coerced, sane person steals, it is obligatory to implement the legal punishment if he confesses to it, or if 2 acceptable witnesses testify to his act.
Okay, so now he's giving you conditions to the whom? To the thief. So that's the condition that we're going to be. So remember, we've got 4 pillars for theft. Yes? One of them the thief. So the thief has to be what? Adult. So if it's not an adult, he's a child, we don't implement that prescribed punishment. Second one, he said, sane. If he's insane, nothing, he has to be sane. Then third one, he said, is not coerced. That means what? He's got the choice. He's not being forced. So this person is not being under the gun threat, go and steal, otherwise we'll kill you, right? And we're going to add as well to that condition, which is for the person who steals, is that the person, when he steals, he's not stealing where there is a shubha. There's a doubt why he's stealing. There's something there that will not let us to go and implement the prescribed punishment. So let me just repeat them, and I'm gonna let's start the last one. So we said puberty, adult, and he's sane, and choice is not forced, and there is no doubtful matter. I'll explain that. And the fifth one is that he knows that he's stealing, meaning maybe he just entered Islam and he thought that there's no problem to take the property of others. So he has to know that this is stealing, even though that stealing is known to everybody, but maybe this person didn't know. Didn't know the punishment. No. Didn't know that stealing is haram. Whether he knows the punishment or not, that's beside the point. So let's just talk now about the doubtful matters that will make the thief is not a thief, where the implementation of the prescribed punishment will not take place. For example, listen, children, very important. First one, the son stealing from his father. Looking at me, right? So son stealing from his father. Khabar is giving hints to the children. He got nothing to steal. So the children stealing from their father. There's a shubha that maybe the son, he thinks that this is the money of his father, is no problem. Okay, so we don't implement the prescribed punishment. Vice versa as well. Father stealing from their sons. Yeah, look at your sons now, if he got money. Yeah, so as well, father thinks that he's entitled to take from his son, whether with his knowledge or without his knowledge. We know that the father, in Islam, if he killed his son, the father will not be killed. He could be put in prison, he could be, but no killing. لا يقال به. Okay, لا يقتل الولد الوالد بولده. That's a hadith in Islam. Also, some like sister from a brother from the sister, because they think that they are together as well. Okay, so with each other. Husband from a wife. You got wives upstairs? Yeah, no, I'm telling them as well. Husband from the wife from the husband. know as well a prescribed punishment to be implemented. It's basically if the thief thinks that there is a right for him into that money and he steals a partner from his partner because they are together, their money is together. It's a thief, but to prescribe implement the cutting of the hand, no, it will not take place. The slave from his master, also person who is a creditor stealing from the one who is in debt. You call him the debtor? Yes. So this creditor, he gave money to somebody and this person is not giving the money back. So he stole his money, took it. It's not to be, definitely we don't implement the prescribed punishment because he thinks it's what? It is money. This is money. Also, if the thief is in need. So for example, whenever there is a starvation in a country and there's people who will steal, like it happened in Somalia some of the years, in Sudan, some of the years, okay? We're not allowed to implement these punishment, cutting off their hands, because people stealing who want to eat. So they are in need. So there's a need, there's no cutting off the hand. It's all of the doubtful things as well. Now there's another one which is implemented maybe once, but the judge is saying, oh, as Imam Shafi'i called him, as-sariq al-dharif. Sariq al-dharif means the, what do you call him? Not the smart, the cheeky thief, the cheeky thief. Person who's been taken, what is this? Oh, by the way, I believe it's mine that I'll take. That he takes a stuff and he said, this belongs to me anyway. Okay, once, and twice, and that's it. And then the judge will say, what are you talking about? Every time you want to be taken for the punishment, you claim that this is yours, which is not yours, definitely. And you take it something which is definitely is not yours. Because, for example, that wallet has got the name of so-and-so on it. How can you say it's yours? Okay, right. So that is called the conditions for the thief. Now, conditions for the ones who's been stolen, the money is being stolen from. That person should be known. Meaning, somebody stole from something, he stole something, but the owner of that thing, we don't know him. Do you understand me? He stole something, but the owner is unknown, or he's not asking for his money. Okay, so that is as well, if he didn't ask for his money. And this hadith with it. One of the companions, he was lying down, and this person he stole his coat, or you could say his garb, and it's a very expensive one. He stole it, and it's worth more than the threshold of the stealing. And when he stole it, the people got it. They brought it to the Prophet that had it. So the Prophet of Allah commanded for his hand to be cut off. He said, message for Allah, it's not worth that much. Consider me that I've given him as a sadaqah. Consider me as we can give him as a sadaqah. Also, we should have said that before he brought it to the punishment. Once you bring it to the judge, there is no such thing as called intercession. He said, just consider me and give him as a sadaqah. So the Prophet only said, if you did that before, nobody, khalas, no stealing. Okay. Also, there is the person, he is a respected person, meaning he's not a person from the war, where we have a war with him and he is in our place. If somebody steals from him, we don't implement the prescribed punishment on that. So it has to be a person who is respected, whom his blood is being protected. So what about if the person who's being stolen, he's a thief himself? Do you understand? So he stole a car or a laptop. So his laptop does not belong to him anyway. Or he gained it through haram, riba, or gambling. And this person stole from him. You understand that? Is that as well will make the prescribed punishment to be taking place? A controversial among the scholars. The correct opinion is not a strong condition. Stealing, even if you steal from somebody who that person had stolen, that stuff is not belonging to him. Unless it is yours, it's stealing yours. But that is called stealing, Wallahu a'lam. So it is not a very strong condition. Now coming to the threshold and the money which is being stolen. Let's talk about the threshold, which is the threshold. So that means the third condition or the third pillar, which is the and money's being stolen. Let's just talk about that. Fadal.
However, there are two further conditions that must be met before the legal punishment is implemented. The value of the item stolen must be above the level of the nisab, and the stolen item of the nisab, and the stolen item must have been safeguarded in a normal fashion.
Right. So we have to have this money, which is to be stolen, is that the money is to reach the nisab. The nisab. But we're going to say what is the threshold, the nisab. And that money as well in a place where it's considered to be safe for that particular money. So what is the nisab? Tfaddal, Aisha.
Aisha radiallahu anha narrated that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, do not cut the hand off of a thief except for something worth a quarter of a dinar or more.
Right. So it has to be a quarter of a dinar or more, which is equivalent to 3 dirham. Now we don't know what is a quarter of a dinar, we don't know the 3 dirham. Okay, the dinar is 4.25 grams of gold. Okay, the dinar. Okay, 4.25 grams of 24 carats of gold, not any gold, 24 carats. I have to make it in pounds now to understand how much is that. So the quarter of a dinar, okay, is 1.025 multiplied. That's the quarter of a dinar. Now, what is the gold in terms of the dinar? How much is in grams of gold? So we said. Hang on a second. We said that the nisab. By the way, the nisab of the zakat. Let's say the normal zakat. What's the nisab of the zakat? Some of the zakat is equivalent to 85 grams of gold. How much is that now these days? About 4,000 pounds. Yeah, because each gram is worth about 48 pounds, believe it or not. MashaAllah. Okay, right. So the quarter, if it's 1.06 multiplied by, at the moment, by 48. So how much is that comes to? About what? 50. So we work the dinar, the gold dinar is 4.25 grams. Quarter of a dinar is 1 gram. 1 gram is about 1 gram point something. So how much is that? About 55, 53 pounds, 54 pounds. Can you multiply it by, let me just multiply it now. It's actually 1.06. So 1.06, I've got it here, this price of today, multiplied by 48.3, it's 51 pounds in money. So put, please, 1.06, better, 1.06 grams of 24 carats of gold. That's the nisab. That's the nisab. Remember, each dinar is what? 4.25. And the zakah nisab is 20 dinars, which is 85 grams. Now, so we know that the money has to have the nisab. Otherwise, if it's less than that, then the judge will maybe prison him, maybe will tell him off, maybe, but he will not cut his hands off. It has to be that minimum. What is the hikmah for this nisab to be like this? Because usually it is the case. If it is less than that, the people have tendency to forgive on that. It took me 20 pounds from me, 30 pounds, no problem. Do you understand that? So the Islam came with a hikmah here, so that if it is more than that or less than that. But we have said only one hadith regarding theft. I'm going to add a couple, 1 or 3 maybe. From Abu Hurairah, in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim, that the Prophet said, La'an Allah, Allah cursed, as-sariq, the thief, yasriqul bayda, he steals the bayda, I'll explain that in a minute, فَتُقْطَعُ يَدُهُ, and his hand will be cut off, وَيَسْرِقُ الْحَبْلِ, and he steals the habl, and I'll explain what is the habl, فَتُقْطَعُ يَدُهُ, and his hand will be cut off. Another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, لو أن فاطمة بنت محمد سرقت لقطعت يدها. If Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad, is to steal, I will cut off her hand. That's the justice. So what is the baydah and what is it? Here the hadith says, may Allah curse the thief. He steals the baydah. Baydah in Arabic, if you ask an Arabic person, what is the baydah? What's baydah? What is the Arab? Abdurrahman? An egg. You're not an Arab. Who's an Arab here? Where's Abdurrahman? He's gone? Oh yeah. He's looking at somebody else. You don't know what's baydah? Yeah, egg. It's different on your accent, okay. Baydah, egg. Also, it means the shield made of metal. Even we call the helmets baydah. Khuda. Baydah. Yeah. Right. But the baydah from metal, it's actually worth money. It will be worth more than £50. Okay. And the baydah of the egg worth what? Peanuts. True or not? But the other as well, habl. Curse to him because he steals the baydah, his hand is cut off. And curse to him, he steals the habl. Habl means the rope. Habl, rope. Okay. Now the rope is worth what? Peanuts. But if it's a rope belongs to a ship, Ali, worth what? A lot. The rope belongs to the ship, which is metal. A lot. So what can we interpret the hadith? The expensive or the cheap? It's actually the cheap. That's the correct opinion. So if the person steals an egg, which is worth nothing, or steals a rope, which was worth nothing, may Allah curse him, his hand is cut off. But hang on a second, we knew that the nisab, the threshold, it says £55, and there's no eggs called £55. The scholars, they said here that the thief who steals things which are nothing, like eggs and rope, and he get used to it, he will have tendency to steal what? Later on bigger. It starts with little. Starts with a boy stealing from the shop sweeties. Look at the major thieves in the biography. He was stealing sweets, and then he ended up stealing laptops, then cars, and lots of things. So this hadith tells us that the Prophet, may Allah curse the thief, he steals the egg, which is worth nothing, and he steals the rope, which is worth nothing, and then his hand is cut off because later on he will get used to stealing, and then he will steal the big ones, which will entail the cutting off his hand. Alhamdulillah, understood that. Like, well done. Now, his hands to be cut off. We're going to ask inshallah in a minute. So continue, please. Al-Hirs. What is the safe place? Now,
Ibn al-Mundhir stated, the scholars all agree that amputation is obligatory when the thief steals something safeguarded or protected in a normal fashion that requires amputation. What is meant by safeguarded or protected in a normal fashion is that the item was kept in a way that one safeguards similar items.
Yeah.
Such as in a gated house, in a safe, in a locked location, and so on and so forth. Thus, the valuable item was not left out in the open, tempting anyone to take it. The author of Ar-Rawdah An-Nadiyah, volume 2, page 277, stated, safeguarded refers to what the people would usually consider safeguarding of that type of wealth. Thus, a warehouse is where seeds and straw are safeguarded. A stable is where animals are kept. A pen is where sheep are kept. A jareen is where the fruits are stored. Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As narrated that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was asked about fruits hung up to dry. He replied, if a person in need takes some in his mouth without filling his clothing.
It's hung up to dry. No, it's hung up on the tree. Hung up on the tree, not to dry. So if dates are hanging up from the tree and it's outside for you, just passing by, let's say, a fence that belongs to an orchard, somebody, and it's got palm tree hanging over, and you got the dates, so you got, for example, apples hanging over. So you pass it by and you take it. Now, say,
if a person in need takes some in his mouth without filling his clothing, there is nothing to be done to him. If someone carries off something, he is to be fined twice the value and punished. If anyone steals something after it has been moved to the place where dried fruits are stored, al-jareen, and the amount stolen reaches the value of a shield, then he is to have his hand amputated.
It's very important in this hadith to understand. So a person passing by a fence with or trees that belong to somebody, if he just saw it, an apple or peach or whatever it is, and he took it, and he took not to go and fill up his pockets for himself, one or two, three, no problem, because usually it is the case that people tolerate and pardon such a thing. Usually they will not, it's okay. That's why. Otherwise, he could have just put the fence properly that they will know nobody will touch it. So no problem. Or anything falling on the ground, on those things, no problem. But not to go and bring a bucket and start filling up. So the other one is for pardon, and this one, you fill up in the bucket. No, you'll be punished by what? By paying twice of it. The punishment, you're going to pay twice what you have taken. If you take it in the bucket or your pockets, or you filled up your clothes with it. But if it's been moved, that fruit, into a place where to be stored in a fridge or a freezer, or the place where they used to put the dry dates and all of that, and you stole from there, okay, that's theft. And if the amount that you stole is equivalent to remember what we said? The ruba' dinar, quarter of the dinar, which is at the moment 51 pounds, 52 pounds, then your hands will be cut off. Okay, so that hadith is very important to understand this. Right. Now, we have to differentiate between those following Arabic words. Number one word, sariqa, theft. Number two is nahb. Nahb is, would you take somebody from like this, pinching, it's not something else. Lifting, pocket lifting. It's not big money. Yeah. You saw something, like I said, somebody's house is open and he put his laptop there or his bag, and he went inside and you took it. Snatch it, maybe. Snatch. Yeah.
That's opportunist. They call them thieves.
Yeah, we call it Arabic nahb. And there is something called ikhtilas, which is the fraud. You are in a company and you just take the money in a fraud way. That's called fraud, ikhtilas. And there is called something ghasb, confiscation. You take it with, and you don't care about that person. You take for example, his mobile, and everybody knows his mobile. You take it because he got power. That's called ghasb. Right. The one that will entail the cutting of the hand is which one? Theft. Understand that point. So if somebody had, let's say, got out of his car, put his laptop or whatever bag it is outside, and he just looked in the car and somebody took it and ran off, that's called nahb or snatching. No cutting off of the hand. Okay? He could snatch, not forget about quarter of a dinar. He could snatch 200 dinars, 300 dinars, 2,000 pounds. He could have just put your wallet outside like that, and just want to, and then he looked at the car and he took it, and that wallet got 200,000 pounds. There's no cutting on the hand. And there is something called fraud, even that millions. You are in a company, and then you do something there in any way, you play around with the digits and all of that, and you get lots of money. There's no cutting of the hands. There will be punishment, for example, maybe long imprisonment, but not cutting off the hand. That is called confiscation. Confiscation, which is dhulm, oppression. If you take in my mobile, I've got no power to return it, so the judge will punish you, put you in prison, and take that back and give it to the owner. But no cutting off the hand. Cutting off the hand is the one which is you putting in a safe place and you feel safe. And this guy penetrate your safe. You look at these people being robbed in the houses, they can't live. They move to somewhere else. That's why Islam came with a punishment like that, and a punishment which is suitable. So it is not lashing. No, lashing is under punishment. It's not lashing. And it's not killing. That's over punishment. He did not kill somebody. He had been asked to, he will be having his hand to be amputated. The hand, a symbol, the one that you stole with, will be cut off. And people can see it. Okay? So the hand to be cut, that's the Islam. See, if we don't do that, people will do what we see in these days. Go to the insurance. You go to the police, go to the insurance. Go to the insurance. Hopeless. Nothing. So if you are stolen, you are in a trauma. True or not? Ask these people, you're trauma. You can't live his life properly. He's not feeling safe. He can't sleep the night. So those people who are saying this is a barbaric, talking about Islamic statement, barbaric to cut off the hand. It's better to have, and they will say, this is pure evil. What did you fix here? You cut off his hand and nothing. So what is the solution for you? Put him in prison. Put him in prison, mashallah. Maybe it's 5-star hotel. Go inside, maybe it's 3-star hotel. He will go and learn from the other thieves. So he'll come out again and he will do it better. So he will not be caught. Yes, true enough. Oh, that was the mistake I've done. Next time I will do it better and get away with it. Islam, he said, no, if you stole the second time, then you are what? Your left foot will be cut off. So the third time, scholars differ, left hand will be cut off. Fourth time, right foot is cut off. Fifth time and sixth time, there's no killing. Fifth time, maybe he will imprison you forever, put you in prison. I mean, you've got all of these limbs of yours and still stealing. Wow. So what type of this? What type of? But usually it's the case when the person knows that the punishment is the hand's amputation, he will think more than once. So stealing involves breaking locks, penetration of privacy, going into families, going to things at which, imagine you come into the house, you go to the kitchen and there's the thief there. What happens to you? It's different from somebody stealing your mobile because of your idiotness. You left it there for people unattentive. Do you understand me? It's because of your lack of security. If you are, so this person who steals in front of everybody will come and help. Maybe they will catch him or beat him up, or for example, they will come with you as a witness against him. And that's why there is no stealing, there is no amputation. Different from that person who comes in the night and have keys and have this, and you can't sleep the night, you'll have nightmares all your life. That's why Islam came with a big deterrence. Those ones who had made a doubt about this punishment, they said, so we say, first of all, that there is a lot of benefit in cutting off the hand. Security will take place. People will not rob one another at all. And actually, the person who will learn a lesson is for both. Even the thief who's cut his hands. Al-Makhzumiyya, she did this, and Prophet of Allah,